Good morning everyone. Okay, so today thanks for joining the webinar. I am going to take you through active listening and its benefits. Now look at the quote that we have there. Can you kindly unmute, kindly mute your audio. The art of active listening, what does it say? It tells us to repeat, that is whatever you are listening to, you need to repeat it to yourself. You need to reflect on it. What is the meaning of reflecting? It means thinking about whatever that you are listening to, and then you need to respond. Now, this is active listening. What is happening here? The kitten is listening to music, and look at the body language of the kitten. It's 100% into listening, and look at it's lolling its tongue. That means it's really enjoying the music. So whatever we listen to, be it classes, music and movies, of course you listen like this, but then even when you are listening to your classes or subjects, this is how you need to listen, with 100% concentration. Do we listen like this? If no, it's high time we started to. Now what is active listening? Now as we all know, listening is an important skill. Okay, it's one of the important skills that we need to learn to succeed in life. Now it's quite similar to reading. Why is it quite similar to reading? Because it involves the reception of decoding messages from the other person. See, we have learnt in communication that communication is about coding and decoding. Okay, so listening also is similar to that. Okay, and no communication process is complete without listening. It's very, very important that we listen properly. Now, what is the difference between listening and hearing? Listening versus hearing. See, when we speak, we usually confuse listening and hearing. We use the word listening or we use the word hearing, interchangeably, which is very wrong. Listening is a totally different kind of skill than hearing. So what is listening? Now the definition of listening is, it's a process of, just look at this, look at the definition: receiving, interpreting, that is listening first, receiving is to listen, then interpret is to understand, and reacting to a message received from the speaker. Now it's a cognitive act. What do you mean by cognitive act? It's a conscious act. You listen because you want to listen. Now how is hearing different? Now hearing is solely dependent on your ears. It's a physical act. Listening is a cognitive act, that is a conscious act. You listen because you want to listen, whereas hearing is a physical act. Unless you are physically deaf or whatever, you get to hear. Now what is hearing? Now according to science, and you are all from the stream of science, hearing is described as the vibration of sound waves which falls on your eardrums. And what happens when the sound wave hit your eardrums? It fires a kind of electrochemical impulses in the brain. Okay, so that is these electrochemical impulses we understand as language and meaning and perceptions. And unless a person is deaf, he can hear. Now listening, it requires voluntary attention. Okay, and just voluntary attention is not enough. You need to make sense of what is it that you are listening to, and it requires, like I have told you earlier, it requires a conscious effort to interpret the sounds. Okay, here sounds means language usually. Grasp the meaning of the words, what exactly are the words trying to put across, and then react to message. Now when I say reacting to message, it doesn't mean that you need to speak. Okay, even non-verbal reaction, like you nod your head, you smile, suppose if it is a joke, you smile. Okay, you look at the teacher, whoever is communicating with you. So these kind of your non-verbal reactions, that is reaction to the message. It need not necessarily be verbal. Now this is a slide which is a throwback. This is a replica of the slide which I had used in my previous webinar. That is, if you had gone through the previous webinar, the video of the previous webinar, this slide was very much there, and this, according to Stephen R. Covey, and he is a motivational speaker, okay, and he is very well known for the 7 habits of highly effective people. In that, in his bestseller book, he summarizes habit 5 as empathetic listening, and he says that listening is one of the important key life skills if anybody wants to succeed in life. So what do you mean by empathetic listening? What is empathy? Empathetic sympathy is like you feel sorry for someone. What is empathy? Empathy is you think from the person's angle to whomever you are communicating with. So here what does it tell us? It tells us that first first we need to understand whatever that is we are telling, we are communicating, and then we need to be understood. So this is very, very important, and like I am sure you have you can get the soft copy of this book online. I think if you are in Kindle, it might be even free. You can download it for free. I would recommend that you go through this, because if you want to become someone, okay, if you want to succeed in life, if you want to become an effective person, then you better read this. This is a must read. It is wonderful. It has a lot of anecdotes of whatever he has to explain. It's a wonderful book. Okay, I recommend you read this. Now, which are the different types of listening? You have appreciative listening, that is you really appreciate whatever that you are listening to. Example, music, comedy, movies, okay, your favorite serials, movie or whatever. Then empathetic listening is usually, example can be about psychiatrists and patients, or even it can be between teachers and students, or parents and children. And comprehensive listening is about classroom and student. To comprehend is to understand. Then critical listening, here only the last type of listening, only there you need to bring in your critical evaluating faculties. That is when you listen to either accept or reject whatever is being said. Okay, appreciative listening. Do you identify yourself with this cat? I usually, I believe that I am an empathetic person. So I go down to your level. I imagine like what students would like to see on the slide. See, look at the cat, with the Pepsi bottle, lays, and it's, look at the body language. It is so much into appreciative listening. And in appreciative listening, we don't think of whether whatever is being said is right or wrong. We never kind of, dissent whatever we listen to. We just listen, we appreciate. That's it. Next, comprehensive listening. To comprehend is to understand. Example is classroom listening. There you don't worry whether whatever the teacher is telling you is right or wrong. Your duty is to listen and to understand to the concepts that are being taught in class. Now look at the picture. I think I have spoken about this. See, when you were young, these children, they are so, spontaneous. Look at the way they are, want to answer the questions to the question that the teacher has asked. As we grow, what happens? We lose our spontaneity. That shouldn't be like that. Is Ravish speaking? Ravish, do you have to say something on this? If you want to say something, if you want to share something, you are welcome. You can unmute and share. Do you see yourself here there? Okay, next we move on to critical listening. Ravish, you want to speak something? Okay, critical listening. Here the purpose is to either accept or reject whatever is being whatever that you are listening to. You don't believe whatever is being said. Okay, you think, you bring in your evaluating faculties, and then either you accept or reject whatever you are listening to. Example, it can be a purchase, probably it can be a salesperson, a marketing executive, it can be book reviews, it can be movie reviews. Okay, you don't believe whatever you read or listen to. You think. Next, we have the empathetic listening. Example, psychiatrists and patients, like I have told you, parents and children, teachers and students, we need to be empathetic towards the people that we are listening to. And look at the language of touch here. the, the touch means more than whatever probably you have counseled the person. Now, what are the traits, the characteristics of a good listener? What are the characteristics of a good listener? You need to be non-evaluative. What do you mean by non-evaluative? See, for example, imagine you think of a subject, you don't like that subject, okay? Or the teacher who is, or the person that you are talking to. So, what happens is the moment the person starts speaking, you start evaluating whatever is being said. So, that is a definite no-no. So, you need to be non-evaluative when you are listening, no prejudices here. And what do you mean by paraphrasing? After you listen to whatever is being said, you need to summarize whatever you have listened to, and then you need to reflect about the implications, what is being said, why is it that being said, you need to think about it. And then you need to reflect on the hidden feelings of whom? Hidden feelings of the person who is talking to you. See, I have told you earlier, silence speaks volumes. Probably the person might not be saying anything there, but it speaks volumes, and that is wherein reflecting hidden feelings come into the picture. Then inviting further contributions. What does that mean? It means probably you need to ask some questions, that is if you have to, and then you need to respond non-verbally, that is nodding your head, a smile, okay, inclining your head and so on. It differs from person to person, your non-verbal body language. Now, what do you mean by inviting further contributions? See, usually what are the attending responses for inviting further contributions? You need to have a warm, friendly smile, okay, an informal tone, and you need to avoid jargon. What do you mean by jargon? See, jargon, there are two types of jargon. The technical jargon is a highly qualified language. It's a highly evolved language. In that you have technical jargon, you have legal jargon, you have medical jargon, okay, they are highly evolved language which only the people of that particular group will understand. And when you speak of the informal jargon, it is what youngsters like you, for each age there is a particular set of jargon. I think for teenagers your age, like matcha or da or cool or whatever, that is the jargon that you use. Okay, and of course, the last point doesn't hold good in the Indian scenario. Whenever it's possible, you need to address the speaker by his first name. That is not to our culture. We don't usually. Next, you need to use suitable facial expressions. You need to have a natural smile. What do you mean by natural smile? Is there something known as an artificial smile? Do you have artificial smile? Artificial smile doesn't reach your eyes, okay. Natural smile, it reaches your eyes when a person is really smiling. And open posture, see, when you speak of body language, closed posture and open posture, we have double cross. So, the way a person is sitting speaks a lot about whether he is listening, whether he is interested to listen, whether he is listening or not. And you need to always maintain an appropriate distance, the language of space. You can't overtake a decent enough space. You need to maintain, you need to be within the space to whomever you are talking to. That is very, very important. Next, what is the difference between active listening and passive listening? Now, active listening is a kind of listening wherein you pay attention, okay, and you look for valid reasons for criticism and what has led to the speaker's dissatisfaction. You are paying attention there, okay. And what passive listening is, you just listen. Probably you might understand a little, you might not, but you don't worry, okay, unless, like I told you, unless you are deaf, you get to hear things. Now, how do you deal with distractions? What do you mean by distractions? So, suppose the person who is talking to you, probably it's a young girl or a young man, depending on the sex. If the person is young and pretty, probably you might be distracted by looking at the person. Sometimes perfume acts as a distraction. It can be perfume if you are smelling good, but if you are smelling bad, it can be your bad body odor. Even that can be act as a distraction. You need to be very careful about these distractions. You need to bring back your focus from the distractions to whatever is being said. It is difficult, it's not as easy as it seems, but you need to do that. Next, what do you mean by brain time? ROS, that is the rate of speech. Now, an average person has 130 to 150 words per minute. That is the processing speed of an average person. An average person can process 130 to 150 words per minute. And the listening capacity, that much, those many words you can process, okay, rate of speech. But then the listening capacity of a person is anywhere from 600 to 700 words per minute. So if you are too fast, if your rate of speech is more than 700, people will not follow you, they can't follow you. If your rate of speech is very slow, that is less than 600 or 400, again people will feel bored, they can't follow you. So you need to be very clear on your rate of speech. It shouldn't be too fast, it shouldn't be too slow, it should be optimum, so that people can listen, decode, that is understand and react. Now, dealing with distractions, like I have told you, it can be perfume, it can be the youth, it can be beauty, it can be bad odor, it can be so many things. So, when you are dealing with distractions, you need to focus on the speaker, you need to ignore the distractions, and you need to concentrate on the speaker's flow of thought. And sometimes, usually this happens when it's the last hour in the morning or last hour in the evening. You are sitting for the entire duration of 8 hours, so you will probably feeling hungry, you will be feeling tired. So, you need to try to ignore this feeling of hunger, tiredness and so on. Even those personal feelings are also distractions, not necessarily from the speaker's viewpoint, even from your personal viewpoint. Suppose if you are feeling hot, you want to switch on the fan. Okay, you are feeling hungry or you would like to go to the loo or you are feeling tired. So, all these act as distractions, and suppose if the distractions can be addressed, you can always talk to the speaker and it can be looked into. For example, ventilation. What is the meaning of ventilation? If you are feeling hot, you can ask permission and go on switch on the fan. As simple as that, instead of going ahead with your distraction. Because distractions they are like obstructions, okay, they are barriers to communication, to free flow of communication. Next, now what are the implications of effective listening? What do you mean by implications? What is the meaning of implications? Implications are the result of effective listening. What can happen or what can you achieve if you are listening in an intent manner? So, what happens? Suppose if you are a team leader or a manager, listening patiently help you to feel the pulse of the organization. Or if you are in a class, see, listening doesn't mean listening vocally. When I am in class, usually I have the last 2 hours, just by looking at you, you will be fidgeting. Half of the class will be fidgeting. What is the meaning of fidgeting? You are not sitting properly, okay? You keep moving. So, I know that just looking at your non-verbal clues, I know that you are not interested to listen, you are tired, probably you are hungry and you are at the end of your tether, so to say. You want me to wrap up the class as early as possible. And then lack of proper listening can lead to embarrassing situations, okay, because it kind of stops the free flow of communication and it might lead to embarrassing situations because of lack of coordination and understanding. So, listening is very, very important. I repeat, it is very important. Now, look at this picture. The person who is in the forefront, the young girl, she is listening over the phone, and look at the body language. Don't we identify ourselves with her? Many a times when we are talking to someone, we will be looking somewhere up, isn't it? We will be looking anywhere other than the person who is in front of us if you are talking on the phone. The reason is, though you are looking at you are focusing somewhere, it is a kind of blank stare. Actually, you are not looking at anyone or anything. You are just concentrating on the voice that you are listening to. And look at her body language, it is aligned with her active listening. Now, as a good listener, what are the things that you need to do? You need to use affirmative prompting through non-verbal means. What do you mean by affirmative? Affirmative is something yes, and prompting to non-verbal clues means probably a smile, a nod, yes. And you need to be very careful about your own body language. Most of the times, this again I have seen this. See, I know, by whether I like it or not, usually I have the last hours. So what happens is I know that you are tired, but I need to finish my syllabus, isn't it? Okay, so what happens? I feel very bad sometimes when students, they either slouch, okay, or what happens is they look at their watch, or else they yawn. So you need to be very, and these are very strong clues which tells the person that you are not listening. And look at the other non-verbal clues: crossing and recrossing your legs, slumping. What is the meaning of slumping? Sitting in your chair in a reclined position as if you are watching a television. Raising your brows, all these things can be misinterpreted, that is understood wrongly, and it can interrupt the flow of thought of the speaker. And no two classes of mind are the same. It all depends on the non-verbal clues or the interest rate of the students that are listening to it. So what happens is, when the students are really listening, when I can feel that they are listening, I end up giving more, a little an extra example or so on. But when I see the students are not interested, what happens? We just go ahead. We need to finish the syllabus, we finish the syllabus, that's it. So as a sincere listener, what you need to do? You need to accept your role as a listener by listening actively. Now all of you are sitting at home. So you know that today you have a webinar, probably you had lined up a movie or a serial or whatever. Probably you might have cursed me for asking you to join the webinar. But then, see, for whom are we conducting this webinar? It's for the students. Of course, even we learn a thing or two. It's not that, it's always a win-win situation as far as I am concerned. So accept your role. You are here to learn something. So accept that. When you accept your role as a listener, when you accept that, you start listening in an active manner. And you engage in a positive manner. What is the meaning of engaging in a positive manner? You listen and you try to understand and you participate fully. That is, you ask questions. Okay, and when your body language is very positive, unconsciously you encourage the speaker. But then, look at the last point. Do not ever pretend to show interest, because your body language will give you away. Don't pretend that you are interested when you are not, because leakage will happen unknowingly to you, and if the person is watching you, he'll know that you are lying. Okay, your body is telling what something, and your facial expressions are telling something else. And if there is a mismatch in symbols, that is like shouting from the rooftop. Please be aware of this. That's why we keep telling that you need to be aware of your body language. We are not aware how our body reacts. We never know that. Only when you, what I would suggest is shoot a video of yourself, like as if you are talking to someone, and just go through your body language. You will know whether you are positive or negative, and whether negative is more or positive is more. You can always, correct yourself here. Now, tips for effective listening. What is it that you need to do and what is it that you shouldn't do? So, what is it that you should do? You should be mentally prepared to listen. Evaluate the content of what is being said, not the listener, okay, not the listener or the speaker. Be unbiased. What is the meaning of unbiased? You shouldn't bring in your prejudices. You shouldn't bring in your prejudice. For example, what happens is, this is something which I see day in and day out. For language subjects, students are very much biased. They think, what is there that we can learn? What is it that she can tell us, or is there anything new that we have to learn, or is there anything new that we can learn here? Okay, so please don't go to listen anything with a biased opinion. Please be unbiased. That is, you need to unshackle your, biases. When you are free, probably you listen better and you will understand a lot many things which is being communicated. And you need to fight distractions so that you come and listen in a proper manner. Now, what is it that you shouldn't do? You shouldn't pay undue emphasis to vocabulary. see, this happens many a time. This happens with me too. Suppose if somebody does, there is some grammatical error, or if a person is pronouncing a word wrongly, what happens is you get stuck there. Okay, you get stuck there and you can't go forward with the flow of communication. So don't pay undue attention to vocabulary, and don't pay too much attention to the accessories of the speaker. What does it mean? Probably the person is wearing designer clothes, or probably the person is wearing probably what do I put it, an expensive label. So don't pay too much attention to or the probably lipstick, made up face, too much of lipstick. So don't pay attention to the accessories of the speaker. Listen to what the person has to say rather, and don't ever come with prejudices. Be open minded, ask questions to clarify, paraphrase. What is the meaning of paraphrasing? To paraphrase is to summarize. Okay, summarize and send appropriate signals from time to time. That is nodding your head, a smile, okay, aligning your body towards proper listening, and so on. And make sure that you are not distracted. Make sure you are not concentrating too hard. When you concentrate too hard on something, again you lose the thread of whatever is being said. Don't interrupt very often. Again, that cuts the flow of listening and communicating. And never ever show boredom, that you are bored even to an uninteresting speaker. See, whether the subject is interesting or not, you are here to study. Okay, make sure of that. Promise yourself that you are here to learn. Okay, and whether the topic is interesting or not, please make up your mind that you are not going to concentrate on distractions. You will be open minded, you will summarize, and you will listen to understand with an intention of understanding. Now, these are the 7 key active listening skills. Be attentive, ask open-ended questions. What is the meaning of open-ended questions? See, there are 2 types of questions. One is open-ended and one is closed-ended. Closed-ended questions are which have an answer yes, no. Okay, open-ended questions, the potentials of knowing more is more there. Then ask probing questions. What is the meaning of probing questions? Ask for the sake of understanding something better. Then if you have, after the explanation, if you have still not understood, request clarification. Clarify. See, sometimes it so happens that you are not happy with the explanation that is given. Ask again. Nothing is going to happen. And once that is done, summarize that particular session, and be attuned to and reflect feelings. That is, you need to have the same wavelength. Being attuned with someone is having the same wavelength with the person who is communicating. When you are on the same wavelength, chances are you will understand each other better. And then summarize. These are the 7 effective listening skills. Now, look at this quote. The biggest communication problem is we do not listen to understand, we listen to reply. Isn't it true? Most of the times, we listen to reply, we don't listen with the intention of understanding something. So, that is one of the very important hurdles or barriers in communication, and because of this, because we don't listen properly or we don't listen with the view of understanding things, miscommunication happens, which leads to embarrassing situations. Now, look at this quote by John Brunner. Now, John Brunner is a spiritual leader. Okay, he is a certified counselor for alcohol and drug abuse. Okay, in 2005, California. After that, he quit everything and he came to India, and he is a Buddhist monk now. He converted into Buddhism, and he is a Buddhist monk in India now. And like I have told this in one of my earlier webinars, whenever you are going through somebody's quote, please look up the person of whom you are quoting. So then when you look at the person of whom you are, whom you are quoting, you will understand a lot many things about the quote that he has to, or that has been put on the slide. Now, according to him, you can look up John Bruna later on. According to him, truly listening attentively and with care is one of the simplest and most kind gifts we can give anyone. Okay, when someone is talking to you, if you listen, if you really listen with an intention of understanding, if you care for the person who is speaking to you, okay, it is one of the, does it cost anything? Does it cost anything? No, it's one of the simplest and most kind gifts that you can give anyone. It's one of the kindest gestures on anybody's part when we truly listen to people. And if this true listening happens, okay, we can solve 90% of the problem in this world. 90% of the problem can be solved if we start listening in a empathetic manner with care to the person who is speaking. It is one of the best gifts that we can give anyone, which doesn't cost anything other than your sharing your time. So, what does this slide tell you? Listening and understanding. Okay, see, unless you have the connection, okay, you cannot get internet. You need to be connected, isn't it? So, likewise in communication, listening, you have to be connected through listening to the person who is speaking. Communication only then can probably happen. Okay, I guess I have finished early today. Any questions? If you have some questions, you can unmute and ask. Any questions? No? Have you learned something new today? Have I added something to your knowledge base, or is this something which you knew anyhow? Anyone? Okay, good. Rasik, instead of typing, why don't you speak? I love to listen to my students on this webinar, and this is being recorded. Okay, I am going to put it through YouTube, and it will be really nice if people listen to my students, isn't it? Has this been worthwhile your time? Has it made, okay, good. Thank you, Vinay.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you, Rasik. Oh, thank you so much. See, that is what we want at the end of the day. Jishnu was worried the other day that he has missed the webinar, and today I had this webinar especially so that I didn't want you to be left out. Okay, A3 and B3, and from next week onwards, probably it will be the chemistry cycle and the physics cycle. And do tell me what you would like to have a webinar on. Would you like to have a webinar on gender sensitivity? Would you like to know a little bit about gender or peer pressure? Whatever that you are interested in, please let me know. So, we'll have a webinar on that, whatever the students are interested in. So, thank you for listening. Thank you so much.
Ma'am,
Yes,
on
yes.
giving excuses.
Okay. What is the question?
Giving excuses for every means we find the reason for giving excuses like that
Like?
on that. Giving excuses for each and every matter
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, that's a very bad thing actually. We give excuses saying that, see, for example, today's webinar, last week actually I had thought of having it in the afternoon, okay. So, many of the students were like, ma'am, we don't get internet access or, one thing or the other. But then excuses, then what did I tell? I told that, those who are, I am going to conduct class for those who are interested to listen. Even if I get 30, I am happy, because you are here with the intention of listening. So, giving excuses, Jishnu, you mean giving excuses is a wrong thing, isn't it? That is what you mean? Is that what you mean, Jishnu?
But if it's so much reasonable, then it's okay. Other than that, like laziness and all causes excuses, right?
No, what do
That's
you
so
mean
bad.
by real excuses? See, suppose if you are really,
Like missing the opportunity, like for our laziness and all, we miss the many opportunities and all.
yeah, that,
So
yes,
giving excuses can miss many things. Like
yes, of course, yes, of
it
course.
is really bad sometimes.
Yeah, very good, Jishnu. Thanks for your inputs. I hope your classmates are listening. Okay, yes. So, giving excuses is not a solution. You need to find what, see, if a person is really, if the excuse is unavoidable, then yes, then it stops being an excuse, it becomes a valid reason. See, understand the difference between an excuse and a valid reason. See, an excuse is for the sake of missing something, probably you don't want to attend the class, you give an excuse. But a valid reason is, it's not an excuse, okay, it's a real reason for you not attending it can be a class or probably a session, or it can be a program, anything. Jishnu, have I answered your question? Jishnu, have I answered your question?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? It's really wonderful, and I'm meeting you after a very long time, isn't it? How is life now? No exams this year, this semester. Hello? Anybody else? So thanks for watching. Thanks for watching, and see you next week. Thirty-one, 32 idru, 105 strength.